Dr. Marcus Chen stared at the holographic display floating before him, its ethereal blue glow casting shadows across his weathered face. The Zephyrian delegation sat in stunned silence around the circular chamber, their crystalline forms refracting the light into prismatic patterns that danced across the walls of the space station. "This is impossible," whispered Ambassador Kethvar, his voice carrying the harmonic undertones that marked his species' communication. "Our greatest cryptographers have worked on this for 700 standard years." Marcus rubbed his tired eyes and took another sip of his coffee. Real Earth coffee, not the synthetic substitutes the aliens preferred. "Well, it helps that I'm not trying to think like you," he said with a slight shrug. The war code hung in the air between them, a complex matrix of symbols that had defied translation since the Zephyrians first encountered it in the ruins of an ancient battlefield. It was supposedly the key to understanding the military strategies of the extinct Voidborn Empire, a civilization that had once threatened to consume entire galaxies before mysteriously vanishing. "Explain," demanded General Thexnor, his crystalline spines flaring with barely contained frustration. "How does a primitive human succeed where our most advanced minds have failed?" Marcus stood and walked to the display, his fingers dancing through the holographic interface. "You're thinking too hard. Look." He highlighted a section of the code. "You see mathematical sequences here, right? Complex algorithms?" "Obviously," Ambassador Kethvar replied. "We've run every possible computational analysis, but you're missing the forest for the trees." Marcus expanded the view, showing the entire code structure. "This isn't just mathematics, it's music." The silence in the chamber grew heavier. General Thexnor's form flickered with confused light patterns. "Music? That's absurd." "Is it?" Marcus began manipulating the display, rearranging the symbols into staves. "Humans have been encoding information in music for millennia. We had a guy named Bach who hid mathematical sequences in his compositions. Another fellow, Cage, experimented with chance operations. We've always understood that music and mathematics are just different languages for the same concepts. As he worked, the alien symbols began to align into recognizable patterns. Where the Zephyrians had seen only chaos, Marcus revealed rhythm, melody, and harmony. Your species approaches problems through pure logic, Marcus continued, his hands moving with practiced ease. Crystal minds seeking crystal solutions. But the Voidborn Empire, from what I've read in your historical records, they were organic, chaotic, emotional. They thought in patterns that felt right, not just patterns that computed correctly. Ambassador Kethvar leaned forward, his form brightening with interest. You're suggesting they encoded their military doctrine as a song? Not just any song. Marcus stepped back as the completed transformation revealed itself. The war code had become a complex musical composition, with layers of melody interweaving in intricate patterns. It's a symphony of war. Each movement represents a different strategic doctrine. The tempo changes indicate tactical adaptations. The key signatures. He highlighted specific sections. They correspond to different enemy types. General Thexnor's spines retracted as understanding dawned. The crescendos mark escalation protocols. The diminuendos show retreat patterns. Exactly, Marcus grinned, the expression foreign to the crystalline beings but somehow infectiously energetic. And the best part? The variations and improvisational sections. Those are their contingency plans. Everything they learned from fighting unknown enemies across the galaxy, encoded in musical notation that would survive even if their language died out. The implications hit the chamber like a shockwave. Ambassador Kethvar's form pulsed with rapid light cycles, the Zephyrian equivalent of excited breathing. This code contains the strategic knowledge of the greatest military force in recorded history. With this, we could finally understand how they defeated threats that our current civilizations could never face. More than that, Marcus added, pulling up a specific movement. They left instructions for fighting something they called the silent harmony, enemies that attack through resonance frequencies. From the musical patterns here, I'd say they were preparing for a war against Well, beings a lot like you. The Zephyrians exchanged glances, their crystalline forms dimming with concern. Their entire species communicated through harmonic frequencies, and their technology was based on resonance manipulation. General Thexnor spoke slowly. Are you saying the Voidborn Empire developed weapons specifically designed to fight our kind of civilization? I'm saying they fought something like your civilization and won. The question is, why did they suddenly vanish after perfecting these techniques? Marcus highlighted the final movement of the symphony. Because this last section, it's unfinished. Cut off mid-note. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The greatest military force in galactic history had been stopped not by enemy action, but by something that had interrupted their very existence so completely that they couldn't even finish their final strategic composition. Ambassador Kethavar's voice carried a new note of respect. Dr. Chen, in 23 minutes you have unlocked secrets that our civilization spent centuries trying to decipher. How do we even begin to express our gratitude? Marcus smiled and finished his coffee. Start by remembering that different doesn't mean inferior. You brought me here because human minds work differently than yours. Maybe the real lesson isn't just about cracking codes. Maybe it's about making sure you've got diverse perspectives when the next impossible problem shows up. He gestured to the musical war code still floating in the air between them. Because if the Voidborn Empire taught us anything, it's that the greatest military minds in the galaxy can still be caught off guard. The next time something that dangerous appears, you're going to want every kind of thinking available. General Thexnor's spines shifted into what Marcus had learned was a posture of military salute. Perhaps it is time our people learned to think more musically. Marcus chuckled as he gathered his things. Just remember, sometimes the most complex problems have simple solutions. You just have to know which song they're singing. As he left the chamber, the Zephyrians remained behind, studying the musical patterns that would reshape their understanding of warfare, strategy, and the cosmos itself. Behind him, Marcus could hear them attempting to hum along with the ancient Voidborn symphony, their crystalline voices creating harmonics that the original composers could never have imagined. In the corridor, Marcus paused and looked back through the transparent wall at the aliens gathered around humanity's gift to their understanding. Different species, different ways of thinking, but all of them stronger together than apart. That, he thought, might be the most important lesson of all.